Hey guys, welcome to my latest movie vlog for my YouTube channel. I figured I would start a new, possibly monthly series. I'm a huge movie nerd, if you couldn't already tell, and I watch tons of movies each month. And so I figured maybe at the end of each month, I will give my favorite movie that I watched for the first time over that period. And so, drumroll, here is my favorite thing that I watched in 20 April of 2021, and it is the Netflix series, mini series, Unorthodox. This is a 4 episode series. It won all or it didn't win tons of awards, but it was nominated for a bunch of different Emmys. And it only won for directing, but this was definitely in the awards conversation for most of last year. It's based on a book, an autobiography called Unorthodox: The Scandalous Rejection of My Hasidic Roots by Deborah Feldman, which, full disclosure, I have not read the book, but from what I understand, this series sort of takes bits and pieces of Deborah Feldman's true story and embellishes on things and sort of fictionalizes different aspects of it. So it's not like a full on autobiographical series, but sort of uses this as an inspiration. And pretty much what the story is it follows this young girl named Etsy, or not Etsy, Esty, not to be confused with the arts and crafts online store. This is Esty, short for Esther Shapiro, I'm pretty sure. And she is this 19-year-old girl living in, I believe it's Williamsburg, Brooklyn, where basically she lives in the Hasidic Jewish community. And if you don't know what that is, they're pretty much extremists when it comes to Judaism. They pretty much, very similar to the Fiddler on the Roof song, they are all about tradition. Everything from how they dress, it's it like in the old country, all the way to how they conduct marriages, and they have arranged marriages, and they have very specific ceremonies and rituals for almost everything that they do. And it's a way to sort of preserve this old way of life. And pretty much, you find out through this series that maybe preserving some of these old things isn't the greatest thing, because we have our main character here who's sort of stuck in this loveless marriage with the man in the phone. And that picture is her arranged husband, and they have zero chemistry at all. But she's feeling pressure from home to have a baby with him. She is just stuck in this lifestyle, and she, feels like she has no agency. And so she takes it upon herself to actually escape her life in New York and travel almost around the world to Berlin, Germany. And then her husband and her cousin, as seen down below, they are then tasked with retrieving her and bringing her back to New York. And pretty much the best thing about this show is this lead performance from Shira Haas. She is phenomenal. It's one of the best performances on a TV show I think I've ever seen. You can read so much into everything that she's feeling. I'm always a fan of when actors can wordlessly convey all of their complicated emotions. And I just wanted to talk about 4 specific scenes from the show that really sort of highlighted how great she was as an actress. And I will try to avoid spoilers for these descriptions. So, just in a very broad sense, if you decide to actually watch this show that I'm suggesting, be on the lookout for these moments. The first one is there's this really elaborate Hasidic marriage that's sort of in the middle of the series, and we see all of the sort of lead up into this day and all the preparation work. I've never seen anything quite like it before. This show is actually one of the first ones to be all in Yiddish, at least on Netflix, and it really brings you into this world. You get all of the complicated emotions again from Shira Haas. Also, probably the standout scene, the one visual you'll probably leave the show remembering, is when her head is shaved. As is traditional in this community, the women shave their heads and they put on wigs. Seeing her sort of emotional roller coaster as, this part of her that has been with her for her whole life, her hair is being shaved off. It is, again, it's like an amazing performance. There's a scene towards the end that I don't want to spoil, but she has an audition scene that's also like one of the lasting, haunting images of the series. And then also, there is a sex scene in this show that is probably one of the most uncomfortable, awkward things I've ever seen, and it's very disturbing. Yeah, it really goes to show how some of these traditions you might not want to take the extremist route and have them happen no matter what, because when you have these two characters who are not alike really at all, and you're forcing them to be together, because they have been arranged, you can imagine how that might not work out. All right. So all that being said, I also really appreciate how the show doesn't necessarily completely demonize the husband character. The whole premise of the show is that Shira Haas's character, Esty, she's trying to escape her life in New York, and you could very easily make this character the villain of her husband, but instead they kind of portray him as this sort of naive guy. He's almost just as naive as she is. In fact, when he goes to try to find her in Germany, he's like blown away by what even Google is, and that how cell phones work, in the same way that Shira Haas's character is as well. They're both very naive, and they're navigating this new world that they've never really seen before. And even though it's very, it's he's sort of an antagonist of the movie or the show, you can sort of see from his perspective as well. Like, he's just stuck in this tradition. He doesn't know anything else. And same thing with some of the other characters. Like, we have the grandmother character and this matchmaker character, who again could be presented as true, like horrible, villainous type characters, and all of them truly feel like they are doing the right thing for this girl, and they are just totally blinded to the fact that she is miserable, and she just has no agency, no voice. It's really a complicated portrait of this culture. It's not just a straight, flat out saying everyone is evil and you should escape at all costs. One of the major, again, ideas of this show that I thought was really captivating was this tension between finding your own voice and finding your own path and tradition. And again, the from everything from the costuming, which was like super authentic looking, and all of the different rituals, I thought this idea of tradition was really interesting and powerful. And it's this culture that I'd never really seen before. Definitely depicted in media. It's not as common. And also, an interesting idea in the series is just the fact that she chooses Berlin to escape to. Obviously, any student of history will be able to remember that Germany does not have a great history with, Jewish people after the Holocaust and everything. And this idea of going to that specific country to sort of shed your past identity as an Orthodox Jew. Most of the Nazis from that time period are no longer. And now, the Berlin of today, it's such a melting pot of all kinds of different people and cultures. It's a very eye opening experience, I think, for all the characters to sort of go there and see from this new lens. Even the husband character has these sort of tiny epiphanies here and there. And I just thought it was interesting to sort of set a lot of the story in Berlin. So that's my general thoughts on the show. It was amazing. I highly recommend it. Shira Haas, she is fantastic in the show, and she is pretty much the show. She is in almost every scene, and all of her acting gets an A+ from me. And I really liked how this series brought the Hasidic Jewish community to life, and the theme of finding your voice, both figuratively and literally, in the series was really powerful, I thought. If there's anything bad to say about it, I would say once Esty goes to Berlin, she sort of meets up with all of these students, and she becomes friends with them, and they help sort of open her eyes to what's possible in the world. Some of those characters were a little bit underwritten. It was almost too easy how she connected with people as soon as she got to Berlin. It was very convenient, pretty much to keep the story rolling. It was very convenient. She didn't really struggle. And also, just as a blanket statement, this show has a lot of really heavy emotional subject matter and disturbing scenes to watch. So that might turn away some people as well. But overall, those were just such minor issues. If I had any problems with it, they were so minor, it doesn't matter. I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. I loved it, and it was the best thing that I saw in all of April. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully I've inspired you to watch Unorthodox if you haven't already. You can watch it all 4 episodes on Netflix right now. And again, you can follow me on Letterboxd, on my movie blog. And until next time, I will see you soon.